A thick cloud appeared, and it got thinner and thinner, and the spaceship hovered a few feet about them, and within a blink of an eye, it was gone. The backdraft from the craft woke Daniel, and they all stood there in awe, looking at the sand. "What is that symbol?" asked Joan. "I have no earthly idea." Wanyanyekevu smiled and pointed at Jonathan. Jonathan smiled. Corny as hell. And I don't know what to say. I know it wasn't a dream, for we all saw what just happened with our eyes. You know, I can honestly say since I've met you, there has never been a dull moment. They couldn't sleep after all the excitement, plus it was already dawn, so they pitched camp with the help of Jonathan, Elisha, and Wanyanyekevu. Using the equipment that the children of Abraham had brought, they created a training site. They talked all day about what had happened and what Prophet Z said that night, and soon afterward, they began reading the Torah. After building a 4D training room, a firing range, and a combat course, the day quickly ended. Wanyanyekevu was impressed with what Elisha and Jonathan could do with the different instruments and gadgets, and noticed how it made Jonathan glow while working on the various projects. Wanyanyekevu was curious and asked Elisha and Jonathan, "What is it that you both do, and how did you get to be so knowledgeable with all of this?" Elisha said, "Jonathan is a genius when it comes to technology, and I do my best to keep up." Jonathan said, "I was born with a special gift. I can build, create, and design anything that comes to mind. I'm able to look at something and figure out how it works and make it better with my own design. I guess it's a gift from Sabaoth." Wanyanyekevu said, "That's remarkable. I can't wait to see what you two will create for us in the next few months." They all smiled and looked to the sky. Wanyanyekevu couldn't help but think about Prophet Z's words. "Only those enlightened can see the Abenians for who they are." Wanyanyekevu said, "Let's get some rest, for tomorrow will be a long day." As they said their goodnights and went to their tents, Wanyanyekevu grabbed his sand and said, "Sabaoth has chosen us, now it's up to us to choose him." With that, they all fell asleep. The three sisters, Grace, Mercy, and Joy, helped where they needed, and then they sat around reading the Torah as the men worked. A few hours before dusk, they all went fishing. "Tonight, we can eat hearty, but tomorrow we must perform the holy jeûne," Wanyanyekevu said. "What is jeûne?" said Elijah. Wanyanyekevu replied, "It's going without food or fasting as you consecrate yourself to the Lord by building up the spiritual man and lowering or resisting the physical man or your flesh." Flesh refers to your own physical or fleshy weaknesses and desires. Briefly, they discussed the jeûne and continued fishing. For the first time since they all met, they were having fun. Ibrahim's children had never been fishing other than playing virtual video games, and Elijah thought he knew what he was doing because he always beat Elisha in the game. They all stood along the bank except Jonathan and Elisha, who moved a few feet away, for they had created a boat with their equipment. Elijah boasted to Elisha, "If I catch more than you, you have to clean mine," Elisha said. "Okay, but if I get more than you have to clean mine as well." They agreed. Elijah threw in his line, and Elisha soon followed. Wanyanyekevu had his spear, picking fish left and right out of the water. Grace, Mercy, and Joy made a long chair and sat there with their poles in the water while they talked about what they had read from the Torah. "Got one!" shouted Elijah. He reeled it in slowly, just like he did in the game. It was a nice-sized fish, unlike the game, but he had a rude awakening when he took the fish off the hook. Everyone stood there, looking at Elijah and his catch. "Don't!" Wanyanyekevu said, but before he could get it out, the fish slapped Elijah in the face, and Elijah and the fish both fell into the water. Everyone started laughing. Elijah, embarrassed, got up and fell to the ground by his sisters. "Well, I'm done with that." They laughed even harder. Daniel didn't enjoy fishing and saw an opportunity to have some fun jumping on Elijah's back. "Let's play." Afterward, they all gathered beans from the mesquite and palo verde tree and picked desert hackberry, jojoba nuts, and other edible plants around them. They finally closed out the day by preparing and eating dinner together.